Hello. Our episode of the Disruptive Voices of the Pacific, it's a little bit different today. I won't be doing an interview. I'm just going to do a brief introduction and then we're going to replay some recordings from an event that happened back in May this year. It was actually May the 7th, my 51st birthday. I was in Suva and I wanted to invite and gather the people who have spoken out in my books, who've shared their stories on this podcast, who have had the courage to speak up in the midst of a culture of silence and shame. And so the ones who were around in Suva, I invited them for a dinner and we gathered and we ate and we shared. But then some of them were able to get up and really talk about what has given them the courage. They shared a little bit of what's happened in their life, but also some of the changes and the things that they have learnt. The event was actually called the Table of Courage because I know for each of these people who've shared their stories, it's taken a huge amount of courage. The exciting thing to see is that after 5 or 6 years of interviewing these people, of walking alongside of them, just to see the healing that they've come into, the freedom, the wholeness. Now they've become leaders, and it was just a really encouraging night. It was actually one of the best birthday gifts I could ask for. So you're going to hear from three people, just briefly what they shared that night. They couldn't go on forever, but the first one is Mele. And she's been on this podcast a number of times. And she was one of the first women to reach out to me asking if she could share her story, which is in the Disruptive Voices of Fijian Women, chapter 5, I believe she is. That was the first time she was sharing her story. But since then, she's gone to counselling. She's really worked hard on her healing. She's also worked hard on her health and her fitness because healing is we're whole being. And quite often trauma affects our physical being. She's set some really big goals in her life, and it's just been beautiful to see her become the woman that she is now, to find the freedom, to disrupt the shame. It hasn't been easy, and you'll hear some of that in her journey. So I'm incredibly proud of her, as I am with everyone who's spoken up. The second person you hear from is Ritchie. Again, he's been on this podcast. In fact, it was a podcast that we did last year, I believe, on the difference between love and lust. And he shared for the first time about being molested by an auntie as a little boy. And he'd never told anyone that before. And we've got to understand that abuse doesn't just happen to women or little girls, many boys. And I did my book on Disruptive Voices of Pacific Men a couple of years ago. His story is not in that one, but he's since spoken up and shared in his church. He's a pastor at Encounter Church in Nasinu. Has a great church, just a great man. And again, you'll hear his honesty and the struggles that he's had throughout his life with pornography and in his marriage. But I just admire these people who are willing to be humble and open. And so his story is powerful. And again, it's just beautiful watching him become the man and the husband and the leader that God has him to be. And so you're going to hear the stories of three different people. So enjoy that and be encouraged that as we speak out, it does bring healing. And I just know that these three have helped many, many other Pacific people, not just across Fiji, but across many islands and even here in Australia and beyond. So God bless and thank you.
My name is Mele and I am a survivor of child sexual abuse. For 29 years, I carried my story in silence. I was raped when I was 9. And for most of my life, I believed that silence was safer than speaking. I believed that if I kept it hidden, maybe I could move on. Maybe I could protect myself from shame, judgment, or from having to relive the pain all over again. But silence is heavy. After carrying that weight for nearly 3 decades, it became exhausting, pretending that everything was okay, when deep down I was still carrying wounds that had never been given a voice. So in 2021, 5 years ago, I finally spoke up. And honestly, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. Speaking up meant facing fear. It meant facing memories I had tried to bury. It meant allowing people to see a part of my life that I had hidden for so long. But I'm grateful because God placed people in my life who created space for me to speak. Letitia gave me a platform to share my story, and for the first time, I felt like my voice mattered more than my silence. I did not speak up because I wanted attention. I spoke up because I wanted freedom. I wanted to stop hiding. I wanted to stop carrying shame that never belonged to me in the first place. And I wanted other survivors to know that they are not alone. One thing I learned is that when you break silence, not everyone will celebrate you. Some people are uncomfortable with truth because silence has always been easier for them. Some people questioned me. Some people did not know what to say. Some people stayed silent themselves. And yes, there were moments where the backlash hurt. There were moments where I questioned whether I should have said anything at all. But I had to remind myself of something very important. My healing could not depend on other people's comfort. I could not continue shrinking myself just to make others feel comfortable. So how did I handle the backlash? I leaned deeply into my faith in Jesus. My faith reminded me that I was not abandoned, not forgotten, and not defined by what happened to me. I also made the decision to go to therapy, and that has been an important part of my healing journey too. Therapy helped me begin unpacking years of pain, silence, and trauma that I carried for so long. And I think it's important to say that healing can look like both faith and getting help. For me, both really mattered deeply. I leaned on safe people. I reminded myself why I spoke in the first place. And I learned that courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is speaking even when your voice shakes. Healing has not been perfect, and it has not been overnight, but speaking up changed something inside me. It gave me back my voice. It reminded me that what happened to me may be a part of my story, but it does not define my worth. And one of the most powerful parts of speaking out has been realizing how many people are silently carrying their own pain. Sometimes when one person speaks, it gives another person permission to breathe, to feel seen, and maybe one day speak too. Tonight I want to say this especially to survivors. What happened to you was not your fault. Your voice matters. And you deserve spaces where you are heard, believed, and supported. And to everyone else here tonight, thank you for creating spaces where difficult conversations can happen, because silence is where abuse thrives. But when people speak with courage and truth, healing becomes possible. For 29 years, I lived in silence. Today, I choose to live in truth. Inak.
Here again tonight, and it's just a blessing again to be able to be here. I wish my wife was here. We were actually prepping to come, and then the nieces arrived, and so she had to cook, and just got a message from my wife saying that they're having a girls' night and chick flicks are on, and all they want from me is ice cream when I get home. Being a pastor's kid is not easy. I've always said this, and one of my experiences are pastor's kids are the worst kids ever. Like the son of a priest is a beast, And that was who I was growing up because I felt like my dad wasn't there for me. Secondly, I was upset at the things that I was going through. I felt like I blamed my father for it because he was so focused on ministry and he didn't see that I was his son that was hurting. Therefore, I was trying to be a very bad boy at school. I went off to Silver Grammar School. Any grammars in the house?
Amen.
But it hasn't been such an easy journey. Especially growing up in Fiji, you're told if you've got to respect, and when you speak up, that's not good. Real men don't cry, which is all bull crap. And I've had to learn it the hard way. And I'm grateful to God because I've always tried to help people come out, but deep inside, I've always tried to hide myself. Secondly, I never wanted to be a pastor. Hence the fact I still tell people not to call me pastor. And right now I'm actually running Sunday school in church. And I'm the Sunday school teacher. So they asked me, what about the main church? I said, it's boring, that's why I'm going off to Sunday school. But coming out has helped me much more with what I actually do. It's helped me become a better husband, to be honest. Because if it wasn't for me coming out, I've always heard of this term, hurt people. And if I was hurting and I never told anyone, I would have hurt my wife even more. And to be honest, when I got married, my wife was also hurt. I've never lifted my hands on her, but my words was hurting her. And every time she would get closer, I would hurt her with things that I would say, my actions. And my wife, if you know her, she's an introvert, and she would never speak. And it's something that I've just had to really journey so hard. The first time I met Letitia, I thought to myself, oh, this would be a wonderful time to get her to come and speak at my church, because it was just the beginning of me being a pastor. And I invited her to come and speak at church, and I created a poster, and the poster said, Pon Sunday at Bethel. My elders never turned up to church that Sunday, but we had a lot of people from the community too. But to be honest, I struggled being a pastor because I didn't want to be a pastor, because I had issues I felt like I was struggling with. I had things that I had to battle with. And ever since I've started to come out slowly and share about stories and hear other people's stories, it has actually helped me personally to start talking about what I had been through. Because I was a late born, my parents had to send me off to Sawani Fijian School, which is closer to ACS. And I had to be there for the first year to try and so that I could, when I come back into Suva, I could still continue on with class 2. So instead of them sending me to kindergarten, they wanted to send me early to class 1. So my auntie was a school teacher, but I had to spend Monday to Friday with my auntie and then the weekends at home with my parents. And it was while I was with my auntie, that's when I got molested. I never told anyone. I was the youngest child, I was the only boy in the family, and my dad was always focused on ministry, but it took a hold of me growing up. When I was in year 7, I couldn't hold it anymore. I started resorting to pornography. And that was a place where I could escape off to. And can I be honest, it also affected my marriage, like a lot, because I viewed my wife not the way that I was supposed to view her. And I expected her to give me sex whenever I wanted it. It really took a whole toll on me. But this journey of coming out and sharing my story and talking about things have actually helped me personally to heal. Have actually helped me personally to become a better husband, to be a better son. I've lost my dad also in the midst of COVID. And then he handed me a church which I didn't want. I still don't want it. But it's been a journey of really serving God. And it's helped me become a much more better servant, and also helped me really understand the people that I serve, especially at church. Trying to make sure, I think one of the reasons why I've decided to be a Sunday school teacher this year was because I wanted to make sure that our Sunday school kids are safe. And my kids don't call me pastor. My Sunday school kids, they call me bestie. So every now and again, they'll come in on Sunday morning. And I've got this group of girls who are in age 5 and 6, and they'll run up to me wherever I am and they go, bestie! We'll have our finger going over. It's been a wonderful journey. Like, I think because of me coming out, it's also helped me to try and make sure that our Sunday school kids are safe. Sunday school kids will come up to me and tell me everything that's happening at home. Mommy did this, daddy said this. And I think it wouldn't have been if I wasn't able to be vulnerable. And I think the more I became vulnerable, it also opened up. And I realized one thing, that it was through my brokenness that God's light was able to shine through. And that was when healing started to take place. And I'm grateful. I thank Letitia again for the opportunity of coming over to our nation. And because it's for me personally, it's been a healing journey. Really understanding what a real man is supposed to be. And I have a young man who's here with me, and his name is Izzy. And he was caught up with meth. And along my journey of self-discovering who I am and trying to be a man, have also hopefully helped Izzy find his way back. And this year he's gone back to finish off his Form 6 at Tamatua School. There's a song that he wrote, and the song's called Serekiel. And it was a song of an apology. And I'm hoping that every time anyone hears this song, they get to hear that it's a man apologizing for his ways, for the way he's acted, for the way he's spoken, and for the things that he does. And he thinks he wrote it for himself, but when I heard the song, I'm like, no, bro, you are writing it on behalf of every man, apologizing for every mistake, every pastor that has made a mistake, every father that has made a mistake, and you're writing that song on behalf of all of us. And so I'm grateful to be here again tonight. So thank you.